The family of Deundrea Ford, a 21-year-old mom who disappeared on September 22nd, believes she was abducted and is asking the public for help locating her. The young Houston resident was last seen on video footage walking out of her workplace with an unidentified man between 1 a.m. and 1:20 a.m. There has been no trace of her since.
Newatana family is desperate for answers after a mother disappeared after work 5 days ago.
And her family fears something may have happened to her. They say it is just not like her to leave her 4-year-old son. They're talking to our Matt Doherty tonight. Matt?
According to her family, Deundrea Ford had just started a new job as a dancer at Diva's Bikini Sports Bar and Grill 2 weeks before her disappearance. She had been dropped off at work on September 21st and was waiting for a ride from a family friend to take her back home later that night. She and her 4-year-old son, who her family described as her pride and joy, lived with her grandmother, who stayed about 40 minutes away from where she worked. According to a family member of Deundrea, another dancer was the last person to see her as she exited the club with a male customer. Video footage also captured Ford and the unidentified man getting into a white GMC Savannah three-door van. Her family said that Deundrea called her ride, a friend of her grandmother, and told her that someone else was going to take her home. But the family friend told her not to leave. Authorities believe the white van sat in the parking lot for more than an hour. Then, according to family, as Deundrea's ride pulled up, the white van pulled out of the parking lot with both its headlights and taillights turned off. Now, video footage did capture enough of the license plate to determine that it was a New Jersey license plate, but apparently the entire license plate was never in view. One of Deundrea's friends missed a call from her later that night around 2 a.m. on September 22nd, and later that day when they tried to call her back, her phone had been turned off and all the calls went straight to voicemail. And her family has said that her phone has been off ever since. A missing persons report was filed with the Houston Police Department after Deundrea's family were unable to contact her, and since then video footage from the bar has been turned over to police, but no new information regarding the investigation into Deundrea's disappearance has come out. But more information about Deundrea Ford has.
Tonight, new details on the missing Houston woman who was last seen getting into a van outside of the bikini bar where she worked as a dancer. Court documents now show that Deundrea Ford, she was a key witness in a capital murder case. Fox 26's Sherman DeSalle joining us live now from the newsroom to break this case down for us. Sherman.
Court papers obtained by USA Today show Deundrea Ford listed as a victim and a witness in a homicide case stemming from a shooting that took place earlier this spring. Threats against Deundrea's life are documented in a probable cause affidavit filed in June against 22-year-old Gerald Wheeler, one of 4 suspects charged in the May 18th fatal shooting of Otis Parker. The affidavit identifies the other defendants as 21-year-old Jamal Brown, listed as the shooter, and accomplices 23-year-old Mariah Green and 21-year-old Kitiana Taylor. According to the affidavit, the defendants planned to rob and kill Ford and Otis Parker over $1,500 in cash. In a text exchange between Brown and Taylor, the affidavit shows that Brown allegedly wrote, "She has to go too." Taylor, court papers show, responded, "I already know." And presumably they were talking about Deundrea Ford. At about 4:30 a.m. on the day of the shooting, the affidavit shows that Deundrea Ford was sleeping in the front passenger seat of the car that was driven by Otis Parker when she was woken up by gunshots as the vehicle was pulling into an apartment complex in southeast Houston. Deundrea, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, and Taylor, who was sitting in the back seat, had just returned from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where they had worked as dancers for about a week. Otis Parker, who was driving the car during the incident, was fatally shot, but Deundrea and Taylor were able to get out of the vehicle without getting hit. Another court document that outlined bond conditions revealed that on June 30th, a judge issued a no-contact order between the defendants and Deundrea Ford. A couple of weeks later, on July 12th, one of the 4 suspects who was involved in the shooting of Otis Parker was killed by police when they were trying to arrest him. But the other 3 defendants have remained in custody without bond throughout this whole process. And I do want to point out that even though I mentioned all this other stuff, there is no clear indication that any of that has anything to do with Deundrea's disappearance. It's only brought up because it is new information that the public has that came out after she disappeared. As I mentioned earlier, detectives have not released any additional information about the case since its initial missing persons report. but authorities are asking anyone with any information about Deundrea Ford's disappearance to please come forward. At the time of her disappearance, police say Ford was wearing tan pants and a black tank top. She is 5 feet 4 inches tall and weighs approximately 170 pounds. An important detail is that her hair had just been braided that day, brand new and fresh, with really long braided extensions, her relatives noted. Houston police urge anyone with information on Ford's whereabouts to contact the Houston Police Patrol at 713-884-3131 or the Houston Police Missing Persons Division at 832-394-1840. And that's pretty much all the information we have so far about Deundrea Ford. So as far as what I think, I agree with the family that I think she must have been abducted. Unfortunately, the actual video from the bar where she worked hasn't been released to the public as far as I know. But from the details that we've got from it, it seems pretty clear that she went outside with this unidentified dude. She got in his car. They stayed there for over an hour. And right now, no one's really sure if she ever even had the chance to get out of the vehicle or if she wasn't able to. And it's really unfortunate that the video footage wasn't able to get the full license plate, or maybe it wasn't clear enough. Not really sure. But from what I've seen and heard doing like the research, it seems like the investigators have a pretty good idea. Like that's a good starting point, and they're confident that they can figure out where she is or where she was taken. So hopefully this case gets resolved pretty quickly. As of recording, it's only been about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. So hopefully in the next week or so, or sometime even sooner than that, this gets solved. That would be great for the family, everybody. So hopefully that happens. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Don't forget to also like and subscribe if you haven't already. I know I kind of say this every video, but all that stuff helps the channel a lot, helps the video a lot, helps me a lot. I really appreciate it. So if you could do any of those things, thank you in advance. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and like always, I will see you next video.